Traditionally, today is known as Palm Sunday. Palm Sunday commemorates the Sunday before Jesus' crucifixion, where Jesus made his final trip into Jerusalem, and he would not leave Jerusalem again until he was killed, buried, and risen from the dead. Let's go back to that Sunday by reading about it in the Bible. And we're going to look at Mark chapter 11, verse 1 through 10. Now when they drew near Jerusalem to Bethpage and Bethany at the Mount of Olives, he sent two of his disciples, and he said to them, "Go into the village opposite you, and as soon as you entered it, you will find a colt tied, which no one has sat. Loose it and bring it. And if anyone says to you while you're doing this, say, 'The Lord has need of it,' and immediately he will send it here." So they went their way and found the colt tied by the door outside on the street, and they loosed it. But some of those who stood there said to them, "What are you doing, loosening the colt?" And they spoke to them just as Jesus had commanded. So they let him go. And they brought the colt to Jesus and threw their clothes on it, and he sat on it. And many spread their clothes on the road, and others cut down leafy branches from the trees and spread them on the road. Then those who went out and those who followed cried out, saying, "Hosanna! Blessed is he who comes in the name of the Lord. Blessed is the kingdom of our father David that comes in the name of the Lord. Hosanna in the highest." So Jesus sent the disciples ahead of him to get this colt and donkey and ride it into Jerusalem on. They found the donkey and got permission to take it to Jesus. And when they got the donkey back to Jesus, they put their tunics on it to make a saddle. When he got on it and rode it into Jerusalem. This seems strange to us that Jesus rode a donkey in the town, but he had his reasons. Jesus riding a donkey into Jerusalem was the fulfillment of an old prophecy about the Messiah. Who's the Messiah? The Messiah was to be God's deliverer, promised for centuries. And one of the prophecies is found in the Old Testament book of Zechariah. So let's look at Zechariah 9:9. It says, "Rejoice, O people of Zion, shout in triumph, O people of Jerusalem. Look, your king is coming to you. He's righteous and victorious. Yet he's humble and riding on a donkey, riding on a donkey's colt. I will remove the battle chariots from Israel and the war horses from Jerusalem, and I will destroy all the weapons used in battle. And your king's peace to the nations, and his realm will stretch from sea to sea, and from the Euphrates River to the ends of the earth." This was written 500 years before Palm Sunday. The Jewish people would be familiar with this prophecy. They knew about Jesus. They knew about his claims. They'd seen him do miraculous things. Now they see him riding on a donkey into Jerusalem, just like they'd been told for 500 years. They understood what Jesus was claiming. He was saying he was the Messiah. And the crowd went nuts. They laid their tunics on the road for him to ride across. They took branches and spread them on the road. They waved them in the air. They started chanting. They were saying, "Praise God, Hosanna." They anticipated Jesus setting up a new kingdom like David's. This all happened on Sunday. Here's what the crowd was saying Friday morning. We're going to look at Mark chapter 15, verses 9 through 15. Mark 15. "Would you like me to release you, this king of the Jews?" Pilate asked. For he realized by now that the leading priests had arrested Jesus out of envy. But at this point, the leading priests stirred up the crowd to demand the release of Barabbas instead of Jesus. Pilate asked them, "Then what should I do with this man you call the King of Jews?" They shouted back, "Crucify him." "Why?" Pilate demanded. "What crime has he committed?" But the mob roared even louder, "Crucify him." So to pacify the crowd, Pilate released Barabbas to them. He ordered Jesus flogged with a lead-tipped whip and turned him over to Roman soldiers to be crucified. "Crucify him, crucify him." That's what they were shouting. What happened in those 5 days that changed the mind of the crowd? Well, Jesus was not who they wanted him to be. The Jewish people were oppressed and insulted to have the Romans occupying the land that God had given them. They thought of the Romans as Gentile dogs. The Messiah was supposed to, in their minds, set them free from Roman occupation. The Romans wouldn't even acknowledge who Jesus was. In fact, they were going to kill him. That wouldn't happen to the real Messiah, would it? If he was the Messiah, he was a failure at it. And he was going to die on a cross. Deuteronomy 21:23 says anyone dying on a cross is cursed. So not only was Jesus a failure in their eyes, he was a cursed failure. There's no way they could see how Jesus could be the Messiah. But see, they missed the real Jesus, the real Messiah. They missed it because Jesus was not who they wanted him to be. Jesus was and is the Messiah, but they missed it because he didn't fit in their Messiah box. Here's the thing. People today are still missing Jesus because he doesn't fit into their box. We still want Jesus to be who we want him to be. We want Jesus to be our problem solver. We get ourselves into a mess. We try everything we can think of to get out of this mess, which usually leads to a deeper mess, with more messes created. And then we cry out to Jesus, get me out of this mess. Solve all my problems. Most very stupid and brought on by myself. We want our Messiah to clean up our messes. We want Jesus to be our avenger. Someone has gotten on our bad side. We don't like the way they talk to us or ignore us. They may have done some really bad things, and we want to get them back. Isn't that what Jesus does? Pay back those who bother us. We want Messiah to fight our fights. And we want Jesus to be our ATM. Some of our messes we've created for ourselves involve money. So we need a bailout. Or we've got our eye on that new Xbox. Or that F-150. We really don't have the means to get those things, so we beg Jesus to give us money to get the stuff we want. We want our Messiah to be a loan shark. And we want Jesus to turn back time. Some of our messes can't be easily cleaned up. We've really hurt someone in the past, so we want our Messiah to wipe out minds. And we want Jesus to look the other way. We've got some temptations that are pulling us in, and there's some things we'd like to do that are not altogether right. But really, could it be that big of a deal if I do this or that? So we want a Messiah who doesn't hold us accountable. Many times that's what we want our Messiah to be. Just like the Jewish people in Jerusalem, we've got our own ideas of who the Messiah should be. And when he doesn't live up to our expectations, we are sorely disappointed. That's not who the Messiah is. Like the people on Palm Sunday, we need to get a grip of who Jesus is. There are times when Jesus will step in and supernaturally intervene, but those times are not just for our benefit. They're to show us who Jesus really is. And when he decides not to intervene, that doesn't change who he is. As the Messiah, this is who Jesus is. Jesus is God incarnate. He is God come to walk among his creation. He is not somebody at our disposal to be our genie in a bottle. He is God. We want to know who God is and how he acts. Well, we can see Jesus and know God. As the Messiah, Jesus is the true world changer. The entire history of the universe hinges on him. The world has been totally transformed because the Messiah came. As Messiah, Jesus didn't come just to solve our problems. He came to save us from our problems. And the main problem is that we have rebelled against and sinned against the holy, magnificent God. All our problems stem from rebellion from God. And Jesus, our Messiah, came to save us from the consequences of our sin and rebellion. That Friday when they yelled, crucify him, they did. But his death was not for naught. It was his death that made us right with our holy and magnificent God. He saved us from the primary problem we all have. We're sinners. But his death on the cross, our Messiah, has made a way for us to come to God. Is he truly your Messiah?